Hey there. Today I want to talk about mindset shifts and do they really last? A lot of times people are wondering, like, if I go and I do all this work, is it really going to make a difference? I think so many of us have done things in the past that have, we've started a diet and then we stopped and then we're like, oh, I never want to do that again. But this is a little different than that. Okay. So, because those are like temporary, we're not changing our identity. We're not looking inside ourselves. We're like putting a band aid on something. But what I want to talk about is the real deep work that will really change us from the inside out. Okay. And these are what stick around for a long time. So, if you're like trying to start a business and you're like just slapping some actions on top of it, those mindset shifts are probably not going to stick around, right? Like I said, it's those things that are really like, just put a band-aid on it. And I'm saying, let's do the deep internal work and see what changes. So if you're wondering how permanent life and mindset coaching is, the answer is kind of complex. Okay. Some coaching will come in and rock your world and you'll never be the same. I've had this experience where I went in, and one of mine is just in motherhood in general. I used to think I could fail at motherhood. And for whatever reason, I got coaching, and now that doesn't bother me at all. Right. Like one of the things is I've just realized, like, my kids are on their own path. And for some reason, that brought me so much peace. And it just allowed me to love my kids in such a greater way. And it had rocked my world. One time coaching changed everything for me. Now, is that always the case? No, I've had coaching on so many things where it's just something I continually am like repeating, and then something clicks for me. Okay. Or I'm still in the process, right? Like that's a thing that happens. So some coaching, like I said, comes in, changes everything. Others need more reinforcement, some evidence, a little more love, nurturing, tenderness. Like there's things that go in, and we just have to kind of like do those things on a recurring basis, right? So, and then maybe something clicks. So neither is wrong and both are wonderful, right? Some of us were like, I just want that fast thing that changes everything. Yeah, that'd be nice, but it doesn't always happen. That's not the way brains work all the time. So we have to be gracious and patient with ourselves. So the best thing to do to shift is knowing how to shift your mindset, and then it will always be something you can come back to. So, right, like it's not just like being like, oh, I just need this quick fix. If we know that there's a process that we can do to incorporate these mindset shifts into our lives, and then we do that thing, that will serve us more in the long run. Okay, so I found the best way to have these moments is to create time and space to have them. Now, a lot of times this is really scary because people are like, I don't have the time, I don't have the space, but we're going to go over all of this. Don't worry. So this looks like a combination of regular coaching or therapy, maybe a spiritual practice, maybe journaling, maybe meditation, maybe a breathing, maybe feeling in our body, some somatic work, maybe it's movement or mindfulness. There's so many different things, right? Some people love tapping, like it's called EFT tapping, visualizations. I'm trying to think. There's cold therapy, like a lot of people like doing that. Some of it's just exercise or yoga. There's so many different combinations, right? And not everyone is going to work for every person or in every moment of our life. My practice has changed and developed and goes through seasons, and that's perfectly fine. Nothing is right, nothing is wrong. We allow this organic changing of things in our mind and our practice, and it can just be beautiful, right? We allow this to just happen naturally and not say, this is the one way, because that's what a lot of times people come in and they're like, I know how to do it. This is the thing that's going to change you. And right, it worked for me, so it's got to work for you. And I'm just going to say that is not the case. That's why it's so important to be turned inward and like trusting our intuition and finding what works for us, being curious, because just what worked for me doesn't mean that's what's going to work for you. I've tried all kinds of different modalities, different things, and some work, some don't. And it's totally fine. And other people have said this is what works, and it just doesn't. And it's totally fine. Okay. So, but what I want to talk about is this quote by Seneca. Okay. It's luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Now, a lot of times people will apply this to business world, like you're prepared and then that's when the thing clicks, right? You've been working on something, but I want to bring it back into our mental, emotional, personal growth. Okay. So when we put ourselves in places where we can have these moments of mindset shifts or whatever you want to call them, they are more likely to happen, right? If we're not taking the time to come in and look at ourselves and have a little self-reflection, then we're probably not going to run into these moments very often. Okay. So all the work adds up and then something clicks sometimes, right? Like I was saying in the beginning, sometimes it's like one thing that we're like, oh my gosh, light bulb. And other times it's just going back and you're like, why am I not changing? Why is this thing not happening for me? Why am I not understanding? Why? Right. And we start to judge ourselves. And then all of a sudden we have this moment where like, oh, and it becomes so beautiful. Okay. But sometimes it allows us, we can look at that and be like, this is just the process. I have to go through this in order to get to this shift. Okay. We hear something in a new light with new information, right? It just takes coming back. I've coached people and we're like, oh, this is the same pattern. Why? I've coached you on this 1,000 times. And I used to judge this as like, I'm a bad coach or they're not getting it or something's wrong. But I think sometimes we just need to keep seeing the pattern. We're like, oh, here's my pattern again. Yep, this is the thing I do, right? This is how I operate. We just keep seeing it and seeing it, seeing it. And eventually we'll be like, oh, there it is. And that's when it clicks. Okay. We have new information. Maybe somebody says something in a different way. Maybe we've just gotten life experience. It's all okay. We're just allowing this, but we have to keep putting ourselves in this space, right? Whatever it is, whatever that thing is for you. Okay. Right. People talk about this as doing the work, right? They're like, are you doing the work or who's doing the work? And we're like, what is this work that they're talking about? And it's just showing up and examining our life and maybe like, having some internal monologue, just like being aware of those things and then applying it to a practice that will be beneficial instead of just judgmental and like a harsh commentary on our life, right? We want to actually take the things that we're aware of and then like put them through something, like I said, some journaling or some coaching or some mindfulness or whatever we're going to do. We're putting it through there and we're looking at these things and then we're going to like not just analyze them and be mean, but we're like going to come up with a way to get a new perspective or a new system or a new structure. We're looking for some other way like to look at these things, right? So instead of just being like, oh, I'm such a loser, I can never figure this out. Why am I so lazy? What's wrong with me? Right? That's that harsh criticism, that judge. We're like actually saying, okay, I'm going to take this information, this pattern that I know that I have, and I'm going to put it in through this filter and maybe come up with something new. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. But I used to avoid telling people to add practices because so many people said they just didn't have the time. And I didn't want to add another thing to their plate. But what I have found is when people prioritize doing the work, this is when the real shifts happen in their life, right? Instead of just coming to me for coaching every once in a while, if they're actually applying these things daily or, however they have it, whatever their routine is set up, that's when they're going to start seeing more permanent changes instead of just coming to me and say, hey, fix me, because I can't fix you, right? You need to find this way that works for you. So, but I don't want this to overwhelm you, right? You're like, oh my gosh, she said, I have to do all these things. No, you don't. I want you to start small, right? For me, it starts with a 10-minute meditation in the morning. And for some of you that might like still seem like too much. You can just start with a 2-minute meditation, if you will. It's totally fine. Or maybe going for a 5-minute walk or 3 minutes of journaling, or like try Googling some prompts to make it even easier. Like you can type in journaling prompts for self-awareness or growth, and there's going to be so many things that pop up. Don't worry. So definitely do something like that. Find it really small and say, where can I fit this in? Where do I want to prioritize this? Do I like doing it in the morning? Do I like it in the evening? Because some people are morning people and some people are nighttime people. Neither one is wrong, and you're going to find what works for you. And I just want you to know in the beginning, this may seem like a nuisance. But as soon as you start seeing small changes, you'll find what works for you and you'll be able to shift in a way that you enjoy having those aha moments, right? So figuring out like this formula that's specifically for you, right? Some people like cold baths or whatever. And that's how they like tap back into their body. So many different ways. Okay. Or you may actually really enjoy this and just, it may be the thing you were missing and you love it right off the bat. Like I said, neither way is wrong. So if it's a nuisance, you think, oh, something's wrong with me that I don't enjoy meditation. No, nothing's wrong with you. Maybe meditation's not your thing. I always recommend it because I think that it's not supposed to be enjoyable. For me, it's like lifting weights, not 100% enjoyable, but I know that it helps me. It helps me to learn how to focus. It helps me to have more compassion for myself, and it helps me to allow thoughts without like believing every single one of them. So yes, mindset shifts really do stick, but you have to show up, you have to do the work, and you have to keep growing. And if you've stopped, just start again. It's okay. I do it all the time. All the time. I'll be like doing something and then I'm like, oh, I stopped doing that thing that was really helpful. Guess what I do? I just start again. It's okay to take a break from something and start again. I used to love yoga. I still really like yoga, but it's like kind of waxes and wanes, especially with the season. I'm more likely to do it in the fall and the winter than I am the summer, but I try to keep it going, and you start again and I keep it simple. There's nothing wrong with that. Just allow yourself to unfold and figure these things out as you go and try different things. So with all of that, yes, mindset shifts do work. We do gain new perspectives. Sometimes it's really quick. Sometimes it takes a lifetime. They're both beautiful. Now, I just want you to know, hopefully this helps. Hopefully you have some ideas. If you need more ideas, feel free to reach out to me. The other thing is if you're looking for one-on-one coaching, that is something that I provide. So business mindset coaching, life coaching, either one of those, I love all of it. And I think that applies to everything. So definitely you can reach out to me. There'll be links in the show notes. You can check that out. Or I also have the Confident Entrepreneur course. When that is open, there will be a button and there will be links in there as well. So definitely check that out. It's small group coaching and it's a little more affordable and might be a better situation for you. So like I said, you'll find out what works for you. Some people like love that one-on-one. Some people like, oh, I like a small group. Either one's totally fine. Okay. Hopefully this helps. Hopefully you have a good day. Go out and have some mindset shifts. Do the work so you can have those opportunities. And I will see you around. Talk to you later. Bye.